Hello, everyone, Rand here, and if you watched my previous video on this system here, you know we found ourselves what was hopefully a really good deal on a graphics card, that being this rather interesting graphics card here, for a whopping total of $70. Yes, $70 for what claims to be a GTX 1060 3GB card. If you know anything about graphics cards, GTX 1060, you typically can't touch that for much less than 300. And of course, with the more recent graphics cards shortages, or miners buying them all up mostly, probably can't even touch it for less than 400 if you can get your hands on one. So anyway, GTX 1060 3GB edition for $70? You gotta be kidding. Was just too good of a deal to pass up and check it out. So we got it running in the system here. Let's find out how it runs. Now this is our $500 system here. For those of you who watched the build on it, it's got an AMD 8350 in it. And of course this, again, somewhat questionable GTX 1060. So first things first here, we're going to run the Heaven benchmark, see what kind of results we get. I've already been playing with this off screen here a little bit. So we're just going to run just a preset custom. That's kind of the default quality, extra extreme. 8x anti-lacing resolution, monitor resolution, and press run. And let's just say the results are quite disappointing for a 1060. Okay, so there we got the benchmark running here. And I don't know if you can see the number up in the corner there, but a whopping 9 frames. Not good at all. Again, with a 1060. I don't have results from an official 1060, but most likely it would probably hit 60, I would have to assume, or at least be a little better or a little worse somewhere in there. But yeah, this definitely is not 1060 quality here, I don't think. Okay, so the only thing I can think to do here is to take the graphics card back out and pop the cooler off of it here just to see once if it says anything on the graphics chip. See if there's any indication as to what this actually is. Because again, I don't believe this is a 1060. In my opinion here, for a $70 graphics card, this performs like a $70 graphics card, not like a 1060. With that being said, however, there's no indication we can find anywhere that this is not a 1060, which has myself and a couple others that have looked at this scratching our heads as to what, again, this actually is. So again, if folks have any ideas as to what you actually think this is, would be appreciative of hearing those. But anyway, we're gonna take this back out. Like I said, pop the cooler off the card itself and see what is actually under there. There might not even be any writing on it at all, so we might not be able to tell, or maybe what they have written on it is, again, 1060. So here's the graphics card in question, and if you look on the back here, it does claim to be a GTX 1060 3GB. Manufacturer on this, I'm not entirely sure. It's some Chinese manufacturer, so I really don't know the maker of this particular one here. So like I said, I think we're going to pop the cooler off here and see if we can actually have a look at the actual chip here. See if the chip says anything. So screw-wise, looks like we're looking at just these 4 screws here. And a fan connector there, which is apparently going to come off with the socket. Okay. Okay, so there's the cooler off there, and that is supposed to be the 1060 in the middle. Keywords supposed to be. And then I would assume this is the memory around here. So Hynix is the memory brand there, interesting enough. I have to probably look up these numbers just to know if these actually are 3 gigs. That's another thing. It claims 3 gig. Is it actually 3 gigs? Don't really know. Okay, system's all back together here. We're just going to open up a game here and just see how it runs here a moment. I've already done this in the past, and the results are actually quite good for this card. So we are running at high settings here. Didn't quite seem to want to run at very high. The game would crash when we try to do that, interestingly enough. But at high settings here, it actually seems to work quite well. In fact, if we bring up the FPS here, we're actually getting 60 FPS. Which I was actually a bit surprised at. I didn't think we would get 60 FPS here. You know, it does drop down a little bit here and there, obviously. Kind of the way this game is, but again, you can see we are getting 60 FPS, so that is actually quite surprising. Again, this is high settings here. And like I said, with very high, it actually wouldn't run. The game kept crashing for some reason. I don't know why that is. I suspect it's trying to do something that's unsupported. I don't think it's the fact that it can't run it. It's just something is not supported with it. And just to show you folks here, even NVIDIA, if we auto-detect our GPU here, even they think this is a GTX 1060. Again, don't think it is. Not sure what it is, though. And we should find out in one moment here. Takes it a minute to detect this, apparently. There we go. So it claims this is a GTX 1063 gig, and that is the driver we want to install for this. Now, if we try to download and install this driver, the system or the graphics card will not run with this driver installed. So this definitely is not the proper driver for this card. Now what's interesting here is Windows is the one that is installing the driver at the moment, and we were even able to update the driver through Windows. So that's how we got version 391 on here currently, through Windows. Windows seems to know what this card is and install the proper driver, or at least a driver that will run the card. Again, interestingly enough here, the official NVIDIA driver will not. Okay, everyone, and on that note, I think we're going to wrap up this video here. Again, this card seems to be performing quite well on this system here, running at 60 FPS at 1080. Although the game we're playing here obviously not that demanding, and per the benchmark there, had those results there early in the video, not the greatest. So again, just my opinion here, $70 1060 performs like a $70 card, not like a 1060. So that, you have any comments or questions, be sure to leave them below. Also, if you have a way to tell as to what this card actually is, we'd be curious to know as well. We've gone through a lot of settings, looked at a lot of different things. Everything seems to say it is a 1060, so have not been able to determine what this card actually is. Again, it is an NVIDIA driver on it. We're just not entirely sure what, or what NVIDIA chip is on there. So, again, folks, leave comments or questions below, and as always, thanks for watching, and until next time.